Hello, I'm Jackson Bird, and today I am going to be rewatching my coming out video from 7 years ago. I have not rewatched this video in years. I definitely watched it a little bit after I first put it up, but over the years, you know, as I have grown and times have changed, it's just become not painful, but definitely like cringe to rewatch it. Even when I did my 5-year transition video and I put like little clips from my coming out video into that transition timeline video, which by the way you can go watch there, I didn't watch the whole thing back. I just found some behind the scenes clips and like just little, I kind of scrubbed through it and pulled out little places like, oh, I did not want to rewatch it. And now I'm gonna rewatch it for some reason. I was just sort of like, you know, I haven't rewatched it in a long time, probably gonna have a reaction to it, might as well share that with all of you. This is gonna be kind of like a director's commentary on the video. I've never really done like a reaction video to anything before. No time like the present. It's a 12-minute video, so I guess we better dive in. 12 minutes felt so long for a YouTube video back in 2015, and now it's like, I keep putting up 18-minute long videos, and there's people out here putting out hour-and-a-half long videos, so 12 minutes actually quite snappy now, in retrospect. But yeah, I guess let's dive into this. It looks like the very first frame ended up being the thumbnail. The thumbnail is so weird because my arm is back here like that, but it ended up being the most sort of like genuinely happy kind of look on my face that I got from any still in the whole video, because I always forget to take thumbnails not from stills, to just like pose for thumbnails with my camera as if it is taking photos. All right, here we go.
It's like I almost don't know how to express that this is gonna be a serious thing without making it a joke. Like I've done.
This is good. This is a good cold open. Like none of this was scripted. This was just me like trying to get my awkwardness out before I got started, and that I think that ended up working. It like broke the ice a little bit. It was weird making this video knowing that people didn't know what was coming when they clicked on it, I guess. Like people probably thought I was just coming out as gay or something. So I guess there was a lot of weight on this video. It was like obviously it's a coming out video, but I guess I just forgot until I hit play now that this was a big deal what I did here. That was just bearing my soul to everyone, changing this. I mean, this video changed my life. Wild. Oh god, I better keep watching this.
Today,
okay.
I have something kind of heavy to talk about. It's also going to be kind of long.
Still got to do those jump cuts, changing where you are in the shot as you jump cut.
Over again and saying it in my head for years, and it might kind of be the most important video that I've ever made. And because of that, a lot of
it is the most important video you've ever made.
Watch my videos, so.
Oh god, the fake tattoos. Oh, I was going through a phase at the time where I was just like drawing and painting on my body a lot. I have realized in retrospect actually that I kind of stopped doing that once I became more comfortable with my body during transition. Like I would like finger paint all over my body and draw fake tattoos with pens on my body sometimes, and I think like that might have been me trying to find some kind of agency over my own body, or a way to express myself in some way. And then, like, as I just felt more comfortable and confident in my own body as transition went along, I just realized I wasn't doing that anymore. Also, maybe I just grew up. I was 25 in this video. I am now 32 tomorrow when I'm filming this. Already 32 when you're watching this. And so maybe it's just something that me in my 30s I don't do anymore. But I think the body element is part of it. But oh my gosh, that's one of the things I'm embarrassed about for this video is the fake tattoo situation I had going on, especially because like on my arm, which arm was it? This arm? I drew like the molecules for testosterone. I thought I was so cool. And then there's like a Deathly Hallows symbol. Oh, that's real cringe now. Oh my god. There's also a giant Harry Potter poster behind me in this video. I accumulated a lot of weird items in this particular point in my life when I was working as a spokesperson for a fandom-oriented nonprofit organization. Alright, okay, back to the video.
You might know me from working with the Harry Potter Alliance or my
See, there we go. Working with the Harry Potter Alliance.
Dashboard, or maybe we even know each other in real life. Maybe you're someone who met me at a conference a while back and took my business card but only recently emailed me and are now watching this in awkward confusion. Hi, welcome. strap yourselves in for a wild ride.
It's true. This was part of the point of making this video was I kept it in my email signature for a long time because I had a lot of professional contacts in the nonprofit world and I just needed a way to quickly explain what was going on to them. So much of this video is like, I don't think this is necessary in 2022. For most people. Like, I think coming out as trans, obviously still super hard and all that kind of stuff, but like, a lot of people understand it more now, whereas I was just going up against so many questions and people, like, not getting it. And I understand that in 2015, like, a lot had already happened. It's not like I'm talking about 1995 or something, but it is astonishing how much has changed between 2015 and 2022 in the general public's awareness of trans issues. So I had a lot of like 101 education I kind of had to do in this video.
So I have made a handful of LGBTQ related videos over the years, like educational 101s, and because of those I have received so many letters and messages from all of you, my regular supporters, thanking me for making those videos, and saying how you've shown them to family and how they've helped you come out or feel better about yourself, and I mean, first of all, that's just completely overwhelming and humbling, and
I was so bad at expressing myself. I'm still not great at expressing myself and my emotions, but I just come across very uncomfortable and awkward in this video. Maybe you're watching this video and thinking I still come across as awkward and uncomfortable.
With me, and like, yeah, I make educational videos or I make stupid videos about my awkward life or, you know, waffles, but I don't ever get real.
That is another interesting thing of like where I was at on YouTube at the time I was putting this out. I think I had like 5,000 or 10,000 subscribers, but for the past year or two before this, I had only been putting up waffle videos. My Will It Waffle series was basically the only videos I was putting up. And a couple months before this, I had very intentionally started peppering in non-Will It Waffle videos on other random topics because I knew that this video was coming and I thought that it would be weirder if it came in the middle of just like Will It Waffle videos and not anything about me personally. This was a very long time coming, well-calculated video. And in fact, another thing I have not mentioned yet is that there was a documentary crew filming me while I filmed this video. A friend of mine that I had worked on a documentary with previously, when I came out to her, she kind of had the idea of like, why don't we make a documentary of this whole process you're going through and like focusing on the fandom community that you're a part of online and like this other project I was thinking about doing. So yeah, my friend and another shooter were there filming this whole thing, and they had been following me for a couple of months as I like came out to various people and got my first shot of tea and did all this kind of stuff. And then we just like didn't finish the documentary. So nothing ever came of that. But that is how I got some like cool behind the scenes shots for that 5-year transition timeline video that I made. So just as you're watching this, just know that like this wasn't me on my own in my bedroom deciding one day to turn on the camera and make a coming out video. This was like years and years of having scripted it, planning it out logistically on the calendar with multiple parties, and having other people in the room with me filming me film myself. It was a bizarre experience.
And I think an important part of growing and learning together is sharing stories. And I could share so many more funny and awkward stories if I let myself get a little real with you. So that's what we're doing today. So when I was a kid, if you would ask my relationship to my
Oh, I forgot there's baby
If you'd
pictures.
asked my relationship to my parents, I would have said daughter. But if you asked the kids in my class to line up boys and girls, I went with the boys. If you asked me
Probably
if I
should have
preferred
blurred
going
all
to my
those
Girl
people's
Scout meeting
faces.
or tagging along to my brother's Cub Scout one, I would have said Cub Scouts. Except for picture days and piano
Ugh,
recitals,
bad
which were
school
horrific,
photo.
screaming matches
Worst
that always ended in
photo.
spankings, I exclusively wore my brother's hand-me-downs. In fact, I don't think I ever even stepped foot into the girls' section of a clothing store as a small child. When the girls tried to get me to play with them at recess because they knew I was supposed to be with them, I always just thought they were flirting with me, honestly. I didn't understand why I wasn't allowed to have short hair when my brother,
My
who
voice
actually
was
begged
so
to have his hair
high. So high back then. And I was shooting this, I was already a couple of weeks on T, I think, but I started T a month before this video came out. So sometimes it takes a while for your voice to drop on T, because that is still very high, even a couple of shots in.
got regular crew cuts.
I loved those Space Jam shorts when I was a kid.
Really a girl until the summer after 4th grade, when an incident of being mistaken for a boy in front of my mom led me to realize how embarrassed she actually was by my confusing gender appearance. I didn't want her to be ashamed of me, so the next day I made her take me to the mall and we bought short shorts and baby doll t-shirts, lip gloss and necklaces. I started actually trying to do things with the long hair that she wouldn't let me
Nice
cut.
goth
And
phase
the next
photo.
year at school, I was one of the first ones in my grade to have a boyfriend, and I even willingly wore a skirt on the first day of 6th grade. But after a bit, I got bored. I was tired of not being myself, so I started dressing how I wanted again. But unfortunately, the miracle of puberty was blossoming, and my hips weren't quite fitting into boys' pants anymore, and all of my
I've always
guy
thought
friends were
that
suddenly a foot
explaining
taller.
this whole, like, back and forth gender experience that I kind of had growing up was very important, because I felt like a lot of the dominant trans narratives that we hear about are like, I knew from my earliest moments, and like for like trans masculine people, like I was always a tomboy, I was always very masculine, I was always into sports, and that made me, when I was figuring out my gender, feel like, oh, maybe I'm not trans, because I've had these other like moments where I've tried to be a girl or whatever. And of course, you know, as I reflected and time went on, I realized, oh, that was like a form of repression and trying to fit in or whatever. But, you know, again, back then, 7+ years ago, I didn't hear about these kinds of non-linear experiences from other trans people. And so I thought it was so important to explain that, both for other trans people to know that that is a valid experience, but also so cis people could understand, and especially cis people in my life, not be like, well, I remember when you like wore dresses and makeup, so you can't be trans. I was like so scared that people would say that to me or think that of me. I had a lot of fears of people maybe thinking that I was a fraud. But it's so interesting to like watch this back and remember how important stuff like that was to me, and how scared I was that people wouldn't believe me, because like I don't even think about a lot of that anymore. I know I wrote a whole book that talks about that kind of thing, but that was a few years ago too, and I just I forget how intense those emotions were and how important those parts of my story were to me. And I guess they still are, but they're just not top of mind anymore.
And one day backstage of a play, after being put through hair and makeup, I caught a glance of myself in the mirror, and for the first time in my life, I realized that I was actually kind of a pretty girl. I didn't recognize myself. It didn't feel like me. But objectively, that was a pretty girl looking back at me. I wasn't sure what to do with it.
I also like how my hair changes like every single cut. Like every clip, my hair is like ruffled different, which is happening in this video too. So that's just how my hair has always been. I have very fine hair and it never stays in place.
And I was still pretty awkward with things.
Oh,
for a
great,
while, but
more
by the time I graduated
awkward
high school,
pictures.
I'd gotten the hang of it. I had a string of boyfriends. I was happy. I had the kind of confidence that comes with being accepted and praised for achieving society's standards. You know, in a lot of ways it was great, but it wasn't me. It didn't feel like me. It felt like a game. A game I was winning, and which gave me a lot of pride to be winning, but I wasn't playing the game as me. Figuring out how to continue the balancing act of who I feel I am and who society tells me I should be has become harder and harder as I've started my professional life. I'm being gendered in so many new ways, and I'm meeting so many people who are putting all of these gendered assumptions on me.
Man, I feel kind of sad for my past self watching this. Like, I'm remembering how hard it was, and just how I felt like I was fighting against so much and so scared that people wouldn't see me for who I was, and I don't think they really did for a while after this. I don't know. I don't quite know how to articulate what I'm feeling, but I'm feeling a lot of empathy for the person that I'm looking at on this screen who barely feels like me anymore. Oh, I want to give him a hug.
For example, one place I spoke at recently literally referred to me in promotional materials as a digital diva. And like, I couldn't ask them to change it because then I would be acting like a diva.
The digital diva thing is funny because I think I'm also at the point in transition where like more femininely gendered things, if they are put on me, like I understand them to be kind of a joke now, because like I am a man, why would you, like, you know, that kind of thing. But like then it hurt so much and it was so frustrating anytime someone put like a gendered term on me. I don't know, if someone called me a diva now, I would just be concerned that I had been acting arrogantly. I wouldn't even have like a gendered thought about it, really. Oh man, when you were like early in transition and feel like people aren't respecting you as you are in your gender, all of those little things just hurt so much and are so frustrating.
Navigating all of this has been uncomfortable and confusing and distressing. I try to distract myself with my work, but when you're a spokesperson and a video creator, you are confronted with how you look and how people perceive you on a daily basis. I'm still being labeled and treated in ways that don't conform to how I actually feel inside. Elliot Page said when he came out, I'm tired.
Oh man, I've got a Elliot Page dead naming in this video. I gotta figure out how I can edit that. I mean, listen, it's a 7-year-old video. He wasn't out yet either then.
Running track in the back of my mind of making sure that people don't find out, but also not really wanting to lie about things, and I'm sick of that. I just want to be me all the time without having to think about everything. So, with all of that said...
You can just, like, see the anxiety wrapped up inside of me. Like, it's just like, oh, gosh. And I feel like it's not even just this video. I feel like you can look back at a lot of other pre-coming out videos of mine and still just see that tightness in my whole body physically.
I am transgender. Yep. Okay.
That was, so actually saying the lines, like, I am transgender, that was one of those things where it was hard to say because you're like, how do I deliver this in a good performative way so that it really sounds good? And I think I was thinking so much about that then I got to the moment where I really had to say it and I was like, oh my God, I'm saying it. I'm saying the words on this video that is then going to go online. And obviously at any point in time I could have stopped it and decided not to go online, but like that was the big bomb to drop. And like when I actually got to the moment of saying it, I was just like, I don't even know how to say this. And then that's why you get all the jokes afterwards, because that's how I cope with things. I make jokes.
Set it on the internet now, so that's that. Can't put that smoke back in the jar. Cool. Break open the gummy bears now. Did the hard part. Now I'm hungry. Everyone's gonna stop watching now anyways. For anyone who is not familiar with exactly what that means, it's basically everything I just said before. I have always had an innate sense that I'm a guy.
Yeah, now we get into having to explain what transgender means to people.
The world around me, and thought that I would grow up to look like them. I even used to imagine how I would style my beard when I grew up. I always identified.
I should probably think more about how I style my beard now.
I never even
Don't really.
any of
Just,
that a second
I
thought.
mean, it's still growing in too. It's not fully here yet.
Dealing with this in a lot of different ways. Presenting in different ways, compromising, like I can be a tomboy but I have to wear girl clothes, or I can wear men's clothes but only if I have long hair. I have desperately tried to force it away, but it never goes away. It always comes back, and it always comes back stronger, and it's disturbing my life to the point that I've put off doing things.
Wow, I forgot those lines of I have always tried to force it away, but it never goes away. I don't even remember writing that. That just feels very raw and vulnerable. Like, it's true. It's definitely a thought that I had, but I don't know. I remember just being a bit more performative for this whole video, and that felt very real and deep. Wow, this video took an emotional turn.
Planning my future because I can't do or even envision myself doing those things while being.
I feel like I'm less awkward now looking at it. Like I even looks like I'm kind of physically relaxing a little bit more, even though I'm getting into this much more like real and deep like admissions. But I guess because I'm just like laying it all out there, it's almost looking like it's having a calming effect. Guess that's the power of being authentic and vulnerable, but at what cost?
So, I have started transitioning. Moving forward, you can call me Jackson or Jack. That's one of the names my mom had picked out for me if I'd been male assigned at birth. My pronouns are he, him, his.
Man, I got slightly memed on one of these lines recently. Someone on Twitter like did a screenshot of me saying my pronouns are he, him, his, and they joked something about like when you're trying to pretend you're cis or something. It took me so long to understand what they meant, but I think what they were going for was like only cis people use like the 3 pronoun examples now, whereas like most trans people are just like he, him, you know, she, her, whatever. You just like make it shorter because yeah, why do we need to conjugate all 3 of them for you necessarily? And so the joke was that like if you were trans but you're trying to be stealth, you're trying to pass as cis, then like act like you know less about trans things than you do, act like you're less familiar with it, so therefore you would use 3 pronouns. I don't know, it was kind of funny, but I thought it was another really great example of like how times have changed since I made this video of like, you still had to explain what pronouns were to a lot of cis people. They were not sharing pronouns in bios and email signatures and stuff at the time. Not really, not at most places. So I really had to spell it out for people, all right?
Please do not ever call me ma'am or lump me in as one of the ladies. I am not a woman, and especially not a lady. I know that all of this can take some time to adjust to, especially if you know me in real life. I will be patient, I promise, even though I will point out that I have been being patient for 25 years. And if you are someone who knows me in the meat world and are thinking I maybe should have told you one-on-one instead of through this video, I'm sorry. Believe it or not, coming out is kinda hard, and I wanted to cut down on how many times I had to do it by just making this video and pulling off the band-aid in one go.
Yeah, in terms of like not telling some people in my real life until this video went up, there were a lot more people that I intended to tell one-on-one. I had a spreadsheet, I was working through it, but it really did get exhausting. Like going out for like coffee dates and Zoom calls. It wasn't Zoom. I think I Skyped people. Google Hangout back then. It wasn't Zoom. But yeah, video calls and phone calls and coffee dates and going out for drinks. And I did probably maybe close to a dozen of those with people that I felt like I should tell one-on-one. And it would wipe me out for like a whole day afterwards. It was so emotionally draining. Like everyone was supportive, but just the act of bearing my soul like it was a few minutes ago in this video, I mean, it is exhausting. So I will just say, like, if you are ever in the position where someone in your life is coming out in whatever capacity and you are not told one-on-one and you're like, I feel like we were close enough, I should have been told, let me just offer that perspective to you of, you know what, they probably don't totally disagree with you that you could have, should have, deserved to have been told one-on-one, but it is tiring and it's really tough. And so I am sorry, I guess, that sometimes we just make a post on social media or send down an email or make a video because it's a lot. And we, people in the 21st century, know lots of people. There's a lot of people that we all have in our lives these days. And how do we keep in touch? On social media. So I think it's fine.
And honestly, this is such a personal thing, and I am not a personal sharing type of person that I wish I didn't have to share it. But as I go through
this is true. I am not a personal sharing type of person. Despite the many personal videos that I have made over the years. But I always say this of like, yes, some of my videos are very personal on transition stuff. This coming out video, obviously very personal. I share about some of my medical procedures, things like that. But a lot of my videos on trans topics don't talk too much about my experience. It's more like hypothetical textbook, like general things that I have heard from other trans people, synthesizing it all together. I don't talk too much about my personal life. You all don't know about personal relationships of mine, or my family doesn't like to be in my videos too often. I don't talk about anything below the belt. Like, there's a lot of stuff that you all don't know, and that is intentional, both for privacy and safety things that I think we should all be aware of on social media, but also because I don't like talking about personal stuff or emotions. So I'm gonna hide behind the privacy and safety excuse.
And I would like people to refer to me and perceive me in the right way, so I have to share it. But to make it feel a little less like an obligation that I can't escape, I've been reminding myself of how important it is for people to share their stories and experiences. And it's important to me that I'm honest, because I have to acknowledge that I weirdly have kind of a slight platform right now, and to not use that is selfish to me.
Here's the thing on the whole, like, people sharing their stories, I want to be the representation that I didn't have when I was a kid. I still believe in all of that. And yes, I had a little bit of a platform at the time. You know, I had 5,000 or 10,000 subscribers, I don't remember. I had this whole extended professional network and like these online communities I'd always been a part of. But I could have not done this publicly. You know, I could have just stopped making videos, maybe resurfaced a few years later with a different name, different usernames, different account and everything if I wanted. You know, I could have gotten a less public job. I could have moved somewhere. Like, the stakes weren't that high when I was coming out. It felt like I couldn't do any of that. It felt like I would have been throwing away a lot of what I'd worked really hard on. But there are times that I think back and I'm like, I could have done it all privately. I could have a totally private life now. I don't know what my life would be. I don't feel like I have any skills besides sharing my story publicly, which is a daunting thought at 32 that I have no other skills. But like, I could have figured something out, been a video editor or something, and been able to just live my life stealth and be able to tell people what I do for a living without outing myself. Like, these are things that I think about with some regularity, it occurs to me. Like, I was not like a celebrity. I was not Elliot Page having to do this publicly, you know? I had a couple thousand subscribers on YouTube. So I don't know, sometimes I think about my reasoning back then and just wonder, like, did I make the right call? And I think I did. I am so grateful for every opportunity I've had, for all the people that I've gotten to meet through sharing my story, and just all of the opportunities that I've had. I love my life and I love what I do, but every now and then I'm just sort of like, there were other options. I felt more boxed in than I really was at the time.
Because when I was growing up, I didn't have any trans people in my life. There was no information available to me. There was no one like me on TV. The few examples I saw of anything were sensational headlines and crude one-off jokes, characters that were heavily stereotyped and existed only as pathetic punchlines. That representation told me that I was a freak, a mutant, and that I should do everything I could to hide how I felt, or else I'd be, at best, never taken seriously, and at worst, locked up somewhere, or even murdered. There was no positivity. There was no example of nuance or complexity. There was no basic education. I went to college believing that the terms sex and gender were synonymous, that bisexuality wasn't real, and I had never even heard of non-binary genders. That lack of information and poor media representation had a horrific and long-lasting effect on me. So I've decided to be open about who I am, because if even one person can see themselves in me, or get a bit more comfort and understanding in their own identity, or just feel less alone, then it's worth it. Because I didn't have that for a long time, and I'm not gonna continue to be part of it.
It's tough watching all of that and knowing that there is a lot more visibility for trans people now. There's a lot more awareness that we exist, and there's a lot more awareness of resources that trans people have, and especially trans young people have, but also just thinking about where we are 7 years later and how many anti-trans bills have been passed or are sitting in state houses across the country, to see the tides that continue to get more and more violent in the United Kingdom, and just like what we are experiencing. I think I just, in 2015, would have hoped that things had gotten better and not worse in 7 years. And I don't know that it's net negative. I don't know that it's net worse. I know that me in 2015 already thought that trans people were more visible than I would have ever seen them become in my lifetime. But as we have seen over the last couple of years especially, that visibility has a downside, and the downside is people knowing more how to target us. I think it's kind of like, I wouldn't have expected it to get this bad or this good in 7 years. And yeah, I hope that it just gets net positive better 7 years from now.
As my former boss, role model, and immigration activist Jose Antonio Vargas always says, it's not coming out, it's letting you in. And that's kind of what I wanted to do with this video. I want to let you all in on a big, important part of my life.
The it's not coming out, it's letting you in line that I properly cited to Jose Antonio Vargas, people still quote to me, like saying that I said it. And I'm like, no, Jose said it. It's his line, it was his big thing. He was saying that for years. I just quoted him, and I always feel so bad when people like attribute the quote to me. Jose Antonio Vargas said it, not me. It's beautiful. It is such a great concept, but I didn't say it.
And while making this video is certainly daunting, overall, I am happier and more excited than I can ever remember being in my life. As I've begun transitioning and telling people close to me, it's been like this huge weight has been lifted off of my shoulders. I have been euphoric to the point of annoyance, I am sure. Other people in my life have been commenting that I'm more confident, more myself, less anxious. I even have less headaches. It's like,
I probably have less headaches because of the testosterone. I'm not a scientist, don't trust me on this, but I do know that, like, I have read, I don't know, I have read that estrogen can cause more headaches. I mean, I know when I was on birth control and had a lot more estrogen in my body, I got way more migraines. So that's probably why I was having less headaches, was because I already had a few shots of testosterone in my system.
And most importantly, I'm not ashamed anymore. I used to be so scared of being embarrassed by people knowing this about me, but I'm not anymore. It's just who I am, and I have no reason to be ashamed about it.
I think I was doing a lot of faking it till you make it in this video. There's a lot of things I say, like, I'm not embarrassed for people to know this anymore. I was very embarrassed, and still am sometimes in certain contexts when people find out that I'm trans. So Yeah, man, when I look back at this period of time, it's just like, I never want to go back to that period of time when I was coming out and telling people, for the first time that I was trans and like starting transition and having people not see me as me yet. It's true that I think in the moment I was more excited and happy than not. But for some reason, looking back on it, I never look back on it too fondly. I just remember being very stressed and frustrated and anxious.
And if anyone is gonna try to put me down about it, I don't care. I really have better things to do in my life than give a fuck about people trying to bring me down.
I didn't remember that I dropped an F-bomb in this video. Whoa! I thought this video got played in classrooms and stuff, and here I am dropping F-bombs. I don't think I've done that in a video in a long time. I bleep myself out when I do. Wow, I'm genuinely surprised by that. But I guess I was really trying to make a point that, one, I didn't care, even though I really kind of did, and two, I was a grown-ass man. I could drop F-bombs if I wanted. I was 25, even if you thought I was 12 when you clicked into the video, because I looked very young.
So, can we just like all take a deep breath together now?
Whoa, big exhale.
Wow, okay. So, if any of you have more technical questions, I'm putting a whole
Technical
bunch of resources
questions.
down
I
in the
mean,
description box.
people
I will probably do at least
still
one
do.
follow-up video
Always
answering
got
some
lots of
questions,
technical
though
questions
nothing
for us
intrusive.
trans
I will be
people.
changing my username
Yes,
on all
the
of my
phase
videos
of my
today
life when
tomorrow,
I
but I'm just changing the
misspelled
names. If you
everything
already
to
follow
look
me, you don't
cool.
need to, like, follow me back or
Snapchat,
anything like that.
Tumblr.
You're good to go. And,
Actually, it's kind of
yeah,
creative.
I might be
I'm
talking
not
about
going to
gender
judge
a
my
lot
past
more
self on
now,
that.
but
That's
there are a lot
fun.
of videos
Bring a bit of
specifically that I
whimsy
want
into
to make,
life.
because now that I can talk about my
Cringing at my
experiences
present
uncensored,
self now.
there is a lot that I want to say. The floodgates have opened. This channel will still mostly be waffles, don't worry. If you
Yes,
want the
your
full
YouTube
answer,
channel
well,
is
follow
going
my
to
second
transition
channel,
to
also
be
where I
entirely
watch
about
videos
gender,
and stuff.
pretty
Like,
much.
I don't know, this is
Really
what
thought I
really
was just
wanna
going to
do
keep
again.
mostly
You
doing
guys
Will It
into
Waffle,
those?
but then the trans videos were like doing better, and I was starting to have more fun with those. So now it's like a trans channel, and now I'm trying to be like, I'm more than just
And to those
that.
of you who are regular followers and have been around since I was posting sexuality and gender videos on the HPA channel since 2011, yeah, go back and watch some of those and read in between the lines now. All of you
You can't go back and watch some of those because I
even though you
unlisted them
haven't
before I
had
left
clear
that
idea
organization.
of what's going on.
I mean, I don't think they've made them public again, but I have made so many YouTube videos for so many more years than it looks like if you just sort like oldest video on this current channel. I've been putting videos on YouTube since 2007. I just privated most of them, so you can't
Seeing you
see
stick up for me,
'em.
whether it's people debating my gender and sexuality in the comments or BuzzFeed allegedly stealing my video concepts, seeing you consistently
BuzzFeed
come to the
did kind of,
rescue
they didn't
means
rip it off from me.
sharing
Waffles just got
your
popular.
stories.
Everyone on TikTok and Reels is making Will It Waffle videos now. They don't realize that I've been doing this since 2014.
And seeing your own journeys when you come up to me at conferences and stuff, that's a big part of what has given me the strength to get to this point. And I know that no matter what, at least in my core community online, I have a supportive and safe space. Not everyone is so lucky, and I do not take that for granted.
That is true. That was a very genuine sentiment that I shared there about people coming up to me at conferences and events and sharing their stories about coming out and figuring themselves out. Even before I was out, people still felt like safe enough to say that to me, and I'm just like so humbled that people felt that they were able to share that with me. And genuinely, all of you from back in the day who did, you really, really helped me find the confidence and the courage to share my story publicly as well. So like, I remember each one of you, and thank you so much, and I hope that you all are doing very, very well these many, many years later.
From the absolute bottom of my heart, thank you. Thank you.
I don't remember if I planned that or not, the sort of like long pause and considering and like shifting my eyes back and forth before saying thank you again. I almost feel like that was more acting than natural. I have my suspicions. Oh, the ending. This song.
And there are times now when I still feel afraid, but
Gone are the times when I feel ashamed. So that song is called Tennessee by the band High Dive, and I actually emailed the band before putting this video out because I wanted to make sure I was doing everything above board for this big video, and I asked permission to use the song, and they let me use it because they're just like a punk band, and they were like, yeah, of course. congrats on coming out, something like that. But I listened to that song nonstop during this period of time when I was coming out, and so it was really important to me to kind of share that little thing at the end. And I had a lot of people actually respond, just being like, oh man, I was kind of emotional already watching your video, and then that clip of the song at the end really got me. I was like, yeah, it's a really good song, really good sentiment about just trying to, part of being true to yourself and being open and public about who you are is to also help out other people who are going through the same thing and not there yet. Kind of like what I was just saying about the people who helped me. I'm glad I watched this video. It was not as painful as I thought it would be, but I don't think I'm going to be watching it again anytime soon. It's just, it's a little bit hard to explain. I mean, I don't like watching a lot of my videos once I get to a certain point far enough removed from them, because I do think, like, when we create things, art or whatever it is, those things are not just the art or the video, whatever, in itself. They're also a reflection of, like, who we were in that moment, and we as humans are just always growing and changing and evolving. And so I think it is very natural to look at your past self and therefore look at things that you have made in the past and just be like, oh, what did I think I was doing? That was not good. Like, I think cringing at your past self, I mean, yes, we should have a little bit of grace to our past selves. They helped get us to where we are now. But I think if you're cringing a little bit at your past self, it also shows that, like, hey, you've grown and changed, and that's good. That's a good thing. So I think it's okay that I don't love rewatching it. And again, part of why I don't like rewatching it is I just really don't like revisiting this period of my life. I don't know, like, do other trans people who are a few years removed from kind of coming out and starting transitioning feel this way? I don't know if I'm alone in feeling this, but I just, like, look back at that period of time and do not like it. And I hesitate saying that sometimes because I know there are a lot of people who, like, are not at that point yet or are going through it now, and so I hope I am not scaring you too much. I want to reemphasize that when I was in it, I felt so happy. I was so, like, just, I think I used the word euphoric in the video, like, just beyond happy to be taking steps. I was proud of myself. I was just on this adrenaline high for a long time. But that's sort of it. I think the adrenaline just made everything so intense, and I prefer a calmer existence now. So to think of how stressed I was then is just not a feeling I love revisiting. But I'm glad I watched this. 7 years. What a ride. Thank you to all of you who have been around this whole time and stuck with me through everything. And, if you're new here too, I hope you enjoyed this look at my past self. But that's probably enough time traveling for today. So thank you all so much for watching this with me and sharing this with me, and I'll see you next time.